now, guys like DeAndre Hall and their chances of finding themselves on an NFL team next year?
DeAndre Hall is probably the #1 pick on our team that has the best opportunity. He's going to get to go play in the Senior Bowl. He's been invited to the East-West Shrine game, and he will play in the Senior Bowl. And for that alone, I know how he'll test if he can stay healthy right now. And he will test very well and very comparable to the best out there. So I think his draftability is very high right now going into those games, and I think that will be dictated how high or what happens after that is how he performs in those games and against those other quality players. I think others on the team that are very quality players that can think in that regard. I think Tim Kilfoy, the way he plays, there's not a huge market for safeties in the league anymore, but he has that quality of savviness and leadership and intelligence and toughness to play the game at that position. So I think he's got an opportunity to at least think that and see how it transpires for him. I think Mackin Dorleant has an opportunity because he has the speed to play the game, and he needs to do some things to make sure he's prepared for that if he gets that opportunity. Those are the ones that quickly jump to mind. There's other guys. I think those guys a lot of people have talked about as they came in the offices. I think Braden Lehman is, he's tall enough, but he's got to find the right team because they want blocking tight ends or receiving tight ends. So the rest of them will you got to have the right person want you. But I think everybody wants a corner that's the size of D. Hall and has the range of D. Hall. And he's so multiple and skilled at whether he's returning punts, kickoffs. He has all the things that a David Johnson did that really separates him to the elite that he can be talked of in that regard.
Is he a corner or safety the next level?
Depends on who's dating him. And I say that because what I think really helped him, we moved him to corner a couple of years ago, and he was really raw. And I think they saw that on the field, and they weren't sure if he would be a corner because he really didn't have to. They knew he could be a corner, but they didn't know how tough he was because he didn't have to hit a whole lot. When we put him at safety, and because Joe Felderbosch got hurt this year, it might have been the best thing for him in the long haul. He didn't want to move there. He wanted to stay at corner because he thought that was his path. But as it turns out, sometimes something bad turns into something very good. And I think what really happened is once he got in the middle of the field, I know he changed our defense because he could travel both ways, and we put him on the best interior receiver. And then on top of that, in his NFL look, he had to start coming downhill and make all those tackles. And all of a sudden, his tackle chart went up. They saw he's tough. They saw he can cover the field. They saw he's a leader because he had to line up corners and safeties. And everything they had in doubt about him, they saw him perform as a safety. So I think it improved his stock by moving inside when initially we thought it might hurt him by moving inside. So as it turned out, I think it turned out to be a very good thing for him, and only wish he and all those guys, I just hope they get their opportunity. And if they get that opportunity, I know they'll make the best of it.
Earlier you talked about that tough schedule this year with 9